Greetings, dear viewer, and welcome to Purposes Crossed, a channel where people who are called by Jesus for different purposes can cross paths and exchange ideas. This is the introductory video to the series of reflections on the Sermon on the Mount, which is found in the Gospel according to Matthew, chapters 5 through 7. The Sermon on the Mount is probably the best known segment of teaching in all the ancient texts, and it is easily the most misunderstood. The reason for this is that the text is distant from us who live in the 21st century. The text is written in Koine Greek, which no one speaks today. It is written in and to a culture quite foreign to the ones we live in. It references cultural and political situations quite unfamiliar to us. And most likely, Jesus himself spoke in Aramaic. So even the Greek text is a translation of what he said. And as anyone who is fluent in multiple languages knows, something is always lost in translation. Yet, according to the Gospel of Matthew, the Sermon on the Mount is Jesus' first sustained teaching discourse, coming soon after his baptism, temptation, and the calling of his disciples. Having been given this position in the Gospel, it has a programmatic role, enabling us to understand the ministry of Jesus as a whole. Hence, in order to understand Jesus, it is crucial that we understand the Sermon on the Mount. However, it is my opinion that the Sermon on the Mount has too much theological baggage attached to it, with many common views not even bothering to reflect the original situation within which Jesus spoke these words. Now, in these series of reflections, we will look at the Sermon on the Mount in detail. I have drawn from many giants of the faith, both past and present. And I have distilled this learning into short segments. Now, I am not infallible, and neither are my sources, but I have genuinely wrestled with the scriptures and have presented my understandings in these reflections. And I believe that even my sources, and especially those with whom I have serious disagreement, have wrestled with these same scriptures honestly, coram Deo, that is, in the presence of God. So my disagreements with anyone should not be taken in any way as an indictment. Before we begin this first reflection, let us state some hermeneutical principles. First, no interpretation that is unthinkable in the mouth of a first century Galilean Jew can be accepted. While Jesus certainly challenged long-cherished perspectives on the relationship that humans have with God, he did not do so without a context. And he was a first century Galilean Jew. Second, no interpretation that renders God unfaithful to his promises can be accepted. The Bible goes to great lengths to insist on our being able to trust God because he is completely faithful. Hence, any view that questions God's faithfulness is to be treated with due suspicion. Third, Jesus, through Matthew, should be allowed the full use of normal human language. Human languages have not changed since the first century. If we use metaphor, so did Jesus. If we use similes, so did he. He should be allowed the full use of rhetorical devices like hyperbole, sarcasm, merisms, synecdoche, etc. Now, there are other principles that I could mention, but these three are crucial because they impact our view of the humanness of Jesus, the faithfulness of God, and the historicity of Revelation. And so, with that out of the way, let us proceed with the first reflection on the first beatitude, which will be in the next video. Thank you.